What's happening, Fight Week Show fans? What's happening, people? Salute to everybody for joining us right now. And look what we have here. We have the 205 Cage Warriors champion, the Big Muddy. That's what I call him, the Big Muddy. How you doing, my brother?
Yes, doing very well, thank you. How you doing, mate? All good, yeah?
Oh, I'm feeling good having you here right now. How have you been feeling since that New Year's Eve fight? It came at a time where there was no MMA as well, so everybody was locked in on that one.
Mm-hmm.
How did that whole situation feel for you?
Yeah, it was obviously absolutely amazing. I mean, it's literally a freaking dream come true again. You know, to win it for the second time. It's actually mad. I put out a small documentary after the fight, and I had wrote on my board that I would beat Campbell by KO, and my new record would be 13-5. And lo and behold, everything came to life. The magic board is back in business.
Back in business,
so
yes.
Yeah, I've just been, like I say, just slowly ticking things off my whiteboard that are written out at home. So yeah, like it was, and yeah, like you said, all eyes were on that particular show. There's no other MMA shows on that day, so obviously a lot of people were watching, a lot of eyes were on it. It got moved up, it got bumped up to the main event as Christian Duncan went on to the UFC now. So that was also another amazing thing, to be, the last fight of the night. And yeah, like, what better result could I have asked for? A round it's essentially kind of round. It was almost like a round 3 because it happened at the very beginning of the fourth round. And the corner men did an absolutely amazing job to get that finish. And yeah, man, like I say, I've got back into training, and even as I'm up here, seeing my family that I didn't get to see during New Year's. We'd literally just come back from the beach doing our beach training, me and my dad. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Hitting the pads, doing wrestling on the sand. So yeah, man, it feels amazing, but obviously I know there's more work to be done. But yeah, like couldn't have happened any better, really.
I mean, you said it yourself with the help that you got from your corner, because in some of your post-fight interviews that I saw, the amount of reference that you made to your corner men, to your people that rode with you, that stayed right there with you in the pocket while you was engaging in this fight, is tremendous. The amount of credit, the amount of love you showed them.
Oh yeah, they're absolutely amazing. Obviously, first and foremost, my dad. Like without him, I wouldn't be where I am today. So, Danny has been with me for the majority of my career as well. And Will has actually been like a training partner of mine for a while. But we've become even more close. We become a very big, very good team. Me and him. He's taught me a hell of a lot of lessons as well. And just everything that was said at the end of the round 3 is what caused that finish in round 4. Both Danny and my dad were telling me not to throw big shots straight away because he was like reacting very heavily to it. They said, set it up with maybe a couple of like small feint shots and then land the big shot once you close the distance. And then Will was basically just telling me like, bro, you need to either shoot on him or fake the shot. So obviously, if you hear on the video, Will shouting, you know what I want, I want. He was shouting for the level change. So I faked the level change, and obviously Campbell reacted to it quite heavily. Then I pushed him. I threw a fake jab, which got my range, and then the big shot that obviously ended up finishing the fight. And it was mad because my dad, he told me even before this fight, he goes, Modestas, when you going to give me clean knockouts? I need clean knockouts with the punches. And yeah, so I told him straight after the fight, I said, there you go, Dad.
Yep.
I
got it
for you. So yeah, amazing corner guys, amazing training partners. Obviously I've got a massive, I've got a great stable of people behind me. So yeah, I'm very grateful.
I mean, those components are so important in moments like this, in fights like this. I mean, for a fighter like yourself that's reaching back, and you got that from us and our audience, the best comeback fighter of the year, in our opinion. I mean, some of the things that you laid out the last time you was on the show, things that you've been through, how you was down in the dumps, and your dad had to slap some sense back into you to wake you back up. And
Yeah,
he's still there with you, even at the height of your best moment in taking that 205 title, for Cage Warriors. And the way that everything is planned out for you now, the way that finish looks, the excitement around it, surely, what else could you do for UFC to come back and get you, my brother? What
yeah.
could you do?
I mean, I take everything within its stride. I do 100%, agree with you. I believe I am UFC ready. There, there have other fighters that have either been cut or whatever the reason, they've won 2 fights and they've got back in. And I knew I needed to get the finish. I knew I needed to get something big, and I because the first fight that I had with Chadwick, I had to find my feet in the waters of being back and fighting for a big show again. So I just had to get the win. That was the main thing, which I did. But this one, I knew, like, listen, to become a 2-time world champion is very rare, and to do it in such a fashion is also very rare. And to completely put someone's lights out like that, it was. It was something that needed to be done. I needed something to grasp their attention, and I definitely think I got their attention. I got a cheeky follow off of Joe Rogan, which is like, that dude is amazing.
Yeah.
I love watching his podcasts and stuff like that. What a guy. So obviously, it was nice to have guys like him watching, as he did commentate one of my UFC fights as well.
Yep.
So, man, like, I feel like I've done enough. And at the end of the day, I know whatever the case is, in 2023 I'll be back in the UFC. So whatever route it has to take, whether I get in straight away or I have to defend my belt one more time, I do think, but I do think I've done enough to get signed. But we shall see. All I'm doing is what I can do. I can control everything I can control, which is training, staying ready, staying sharp. When the call comes, I'll be good to go. So, that's it, really.
And you're doing a magnificent job of it. Just staying ready, doing what you're doing, controlling the elements that you can control. You're doing a magnificent job of it. And this is not to disrespect the 205 title that you just claimed, in terms of defending it as well, and still talking about your aspirations for UFC, because at the end of the day, that's the holy grail for mixed martial arts fighters. Everybody wants to get to that promised land, and especially in your case, where you've been there before, had that little taste, and eventually you want to get back there, but you still have a small responsibility to that title that you've just won, in terms of if the call comes for defending it, you'll be also ready to make that happen.
100%, man. And Cage Warriors have treated me very well. They've really taken care of me. They've got me good fights, along with my management as well, of course. So they've really stepped up since last time I fought for them. They've stepped up in terms of production. They've stepped up in terms of like their organization, with having runners and people there. Like, it felt very, like, even more so professional than it was before. They're really doing a good job with Cage Warriors. So, and now they're expanding. They're going into the US. They're going into more places in Europe. So, they're doing an amazing job. So whether I stay or whether I go, like I say, I know I'm going to be treated very well, and like I say, I'm grateful for all the experiences that I'm having.
I wanted to ask you, because you just mentioned there about the treatment of that you've got from Cage Warriors. And big up to them, big up to that promotion there. It's one of the, I'd say, most loved promotions out here, especially in the UK, on home soil, where we get to see some of the top fighters apply their trade, and you're one of them. How has the skill level of the competition between what's the difference in sort of the skill level between competition between UFC and Cage Warriors? Because I can't from watching and what I know, you're obviously in there and fighting these people. I'm just an armchair fan, right? But what is it? What's that skill level difference? I can't imagine it's that much.
Yeah, it's really not. I mean, if you look at the guys that I fought before, Marcin Wojciech, who's now gone to the PFL. I mean, same with Marvin Hamlet again, gone to the PFL. You know, Nasilia was close to beating a guy who's now in the UFC. You know, so it's like you know, the level. Lee Chadwick has fought some of the top level competition in the world. You know, Chuck Campbell was a highly tutored prospect out of the US. So I'm fighting, you know, very good guys, and obviously there are also going to be very, very good guys in the UFC. I think skill set. I've always said that I don't feel. I definitely feel that I am skill set ready to compete with the best of them in the UFC. I think what separates them is just the willingness to. Probably more the willingness to exchange and kind of go for broke, because obviously for the UFC you're getting paid a hell of a lot more money. So you know there's a lot more on the line. Obviously you're in the spotlight a hell of a lot more because the exposure's massive. So you know I think that's probably the only thing is like they're really going for it. The gloves are different, you know, the environment's different. So yeah, it's the like you're fighting in bigger arenas, which I've yet to experience, obviously. But yeah, man. But again, skill set wise, I mean, you know, I think obviously it's more about the willingness to really put their skill sets on show. They're really going for broke when it goes to the UFC. Those guys are really trying to knock each other's heads off and you know, like put on a show. And I think that I definitely was able to do that in my last fight. I was throwing more the guy was essentially backing up away from me most of the fight, and I was definitely more willing to pull the trigger. I wanted to get in there. I wanted to, you know, get into the firefight, which is what I know I'm going to need when I go into the UFC. You got to be ready to pull the trigger. You got to get ready to get into a firefight if you need to. So those are the things that I think separate them. But it's obviously why, you know, they're the most entertaining promotion in the world.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, just touching on those aspects there, is there something you prefer, you know, about working for Cage Warriors than when you work from your previous experience with the UFC? Is there something in between those two that you prefer working with Cage Warriors that you like over?
I think I mean, look, like obviously I get to compete in like, you know, in London, which is obviously great. So that's obviously one big thing. But realistically, the UFC is very similar to Cage Warriors. Like Cage Warriors do a good job of setting you up to be prepared for what it's going to be like in the UFC. The UFC is just on a much larger scale. And obviously they do things just with even more, like basically it's just like a level up, you know what I mean? Just like the level up, you know, the how you get treated in terms of like, you know, knowing where to everyone's there ready to help you. You got people looking after your nutrition, you got people helping you cut weight and stuff like that, people telling you what it is that you need to do, where you need to go. You know, obviously there's a lot more media attention, so there's more obligations there. You know, and obviously you just get to fight in all areas of the world. So it's essentially just different in that sense, where it's just on a much larger scale, on a much more of a global scale. And but obviously, like, you know, I love fighting for Cage Warriors as well. Just like I said, they're even more professional now than they were like back when I fought for them before, and they were already like really good at that point. But now they've just like they've leveled up themselves.
They really have.
Yeah, but like I say, obviously, you know, let's not get it twisted though. No one can really compare to the UFC but that is again why they are the premier promotion. But of course, like I say, I absolutely love fighting for Cage Warriors. It's been absolutely amazing, and
I mean, look, we've seen the preparations the work that you keep doing, even while you're taking a downtime in Newcastle, and being with your family. We still see the work that you mentioned it earlier when we first started talking. You know, hitting the pads with your dad, your sister in the background. Big up to our edits as well, man. The edits are mad. I saw your story. The edits are wicked. Big up
Yeah,
to your
well,
sister.
hey, listen, the edits was my doing, but she was the camera
Oh,
woman.
look at that.
So she got the good angles, she got the good lighting, like, you know, the good places where. So she got the good camera angles, but I did the editing myself.
Look at
So listen, we
look
can
at
give her
Big Money
some credit. We
claiming the
can't give her
credit
all the
there.
credit now.
Yeah, salute to your family, man. I mean,
My man.
they're there with you. They handle business with you. They go to war with you. They go through the ups and down times with you, and that's when, that's why the people you have around you in moments like this, in times like this, are so important.
100%.
Let's shift gears a little bit, because you're a football fan. We know that from your last time that you came here, and Arsenal is still where they are the last time you came here, and we're
I'm
going
loving
in.
the jumper, by the way, mate. I'm
Thank you
loving
very
the
much, Big
jumper.
Money. I've been waiting. I went fishing for the compliment, but I've been waiting for it patiently. But thank you
I
for
know.
that one, man.
I was thinking, when's the right time? When's the right time to talk about it? I should have said it early, to be fair, but
No, man, thank you so much, man. Look, we got there in the end, so I'm happy with that compliment, man. Thank you for that. Now we got the North London derby on the horizon. Tottenham and Arsenal. We're playing them tomorrow. Now, what have you made of the way that Arsenal's been since the last time you came on the show? Because we haven't really spoken about that. But since the last time you came on the show, what have you made with how they keep handling pressure, how they keep applying themselves to the games, the points tally that they're putting together? Arteta and Odegaard, one manager of the month for November and December, which is typically the hardest months for us.
yeah.
What have you made of the whole thing?
Well, this is the thing. I was actually having a chat with someone. It's just like, how, like, and it's always been the question is will Arsenal be able to hold it together all the way through the season? It's like they're doing a very good, like a very absolutely amazing start, probably one of the best starts that they've had. But it's like, will it be able to carry on like later on when it goes into like like right into the trenches of the season and stuff like that? But and I. Judging by the way that they're playing and the way that they are handling themselves, I think they will do, because I mean they've definitely created quite a big points difference, from the rest of the league. It's usually Manchester City that are doing really well, and we're creating a bit of a difference now because I think Manchester City are second, aren't they? So yeah, man. Like, look, they're playing well. They're doing their thing. They've been holding it together so far, and in my personal opinion, I feel like they're going to hold it together through the rest of the season. They've been playing amazing, and I don't really see them like dipping too much. It's mad to think, that the last time they had a really strong team, like similar to what they have now, is like back in freaking 2006, when they had like Henry and Vieira and stuff like that. That was like the almost the dream team of Arsenal from I remember playing like one of the FIFA games and having that team. That was like the one, mate. Do you know what I mean? Like that was like the freaking the 5-star team, So I think we're definitely on a good course, if we put it that way. We're definitely on track to potentially winning the league, mate. So I think we just got to keep focused. Do you know what I mean? Not let anything dip, but they've been playing really well, and like I'm happy, man. Like I say, I've never been the most like kind of watch every single game sort of guy. Obviously, when it's Tottenham and
you're
Arsenal,
a busy man as well, so that's understandable.
But obviously you got to tune in when it's Tottenham and Arsenal. You know what I mean? Like we can't let the Spurs beat us. Do you know what I mean? But I feel very confident in our in our like I say, in the skill set of the team, and man, like we're gonna go and do bits, mate. Listen, we got a 2-time world champion supporting, so we're gonna bring that energy into Arsenal. Do you know what I mean? We're gonna get that championship levels, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Oh my days! I mean, you're in Newcastle. Newcastle is another place that's buzzing with football. Their owners, they're the richest. I mean, these people, they're money bags in Newcastle now, ain't they?
Do you know what? It's mad because my stepmom's dad is actually, so they live in Newcastle, but he's a Liverpool supporter.
Oh,
yeah. So what, Liverpool like? I think maybe 4th or something. They're
a bit further down the table. They're a bit further down the table. I mean, times are dire for Liverpool at the moment.
Yeah.
It's not good for them. But the people that are really living good right now is Newcastle. Newcastle is 3rd in the table, and they've beaten a lot of the top teams in the league. So Newcastle are doing exceptionally well at the moment. They've got a good coach in Eddie Howe.
I've got to tell him not to watch this interview. Otherwise, he's gonna get upset, man. Because his team ain't doing well.
Yeah, Liverpool are down in the dumps at the moment. But look, they still got enough firepower to dig themselves out of the hole that they're in. But the way the league is looking right now, there's a lot of good teams that are doing a lot of crazy stuff. Like Fulham beating Chelsea the other day. Brighton they're doing some crazy stuff. I mean, there's a lot of teams that you don't expect to be where they are, up in the top half of the table, and they're there. Newcastle are 3rd in the league, and it's wild.
Mad.
Can I ask you before we get out of here, a prediction for the North London Derby tomorrow? What's your prediction for that match,
mate?
Even if it's a wild one, throw it out there,
mate. Of course,
you've been talking a lot of things to existence lately, Muddy. So
mate,
please,
I reckon Arsenal 2-0.
Ooh, I'll take that.
Yeah, I reckon Arsenal 2-0. Let's go. Come on now.
Let's get it. Big Muddy, thank you so much. You've been a good sport as always, as usual. Thank you so much for your time. Like I said, taking down time with family and giving us this time. I really appreciate it. And hopefully down the line we're gonna catch up with you again, mate, and try and bring you up on the channel so you can give our viewers some updates on what's going on with you.
Yeah, my man, listen, I always have an amazing time chatting to you. You're a great guy. Thank you so much again for having me on. Yeah, man, and there's big things to come. So, like I say, we'll definitely speak in the future. Always love chatting to you, bro. And yeah, man, on to bigger and better things for 2023. Yeah,
on to bigger and better things for 2023. And you heard it here first from Big Muddy. He's looking for bigger and better things in 2023. And up until then, hasta la vista, people. We're out.
Hey guys, this is John Anik from the UFC. You're watching the Fight Week Show. Please subscribe. Not now, but right now. Subscribe to the Fight Week Show. We'll see you guys on the road soon.